students, I hope you all are doing well. In this section of my video, we will be going through the topic of chapter number 8, motion, class 9th. Now, going through the concept that what motion actually is, what are the things that constitute a motion. We are humans, we see different kind of objects which are moving around us. So we observe that they are in motion. The counterpart of term motion is rest. That is, if we observe that anyone which is sitting at a place or standing at a place, we observe that the person is in rest. There are certain motions in this universe that are noticeable to us, like a bird which is flying, a person which is moving, a person cycling, a man walking, etc., etc. There are also certain kind of motions which are actually happening around us but are not visible by human eye. We have not thought such kind of thing that there is something which is moving but cannot be observed by human eye. If you thought the growing of plant, which is a type of motion, cannot be observed by human eye. The rotation of earth on its own axis also cannot be observed by us, as well as a growing baby. The reason for such kind of motion is that these are very slow motion. It takes months and years for them to take changes in them. But these were the basic concepts and exemplars of motion. In physics, the term motion has a different sense. That is, in physics, the motion says if the position of an object is changing with respect to time, the body is said to be in motion. Like suppose I am at a certain place. If I suppose that my initial position is this, and with time I am walking in forward direction or moving in backward direction, you will observe that I am changing my position with respect to time. Hence, in physics, word motion says that anything or any body who's changing its position with respect to time, it is said to be in motion. Going through the counterpart or the next part of it, which is of rest. That is, if you say that the body does not change its position with respect to time, the body is said to be in rest. Like if I am standing here for half an hour or 1 hour, my position is not changing with respect to time. Hence, I am in rest. So these were the two counterparts, the concepts of motion as well as rest, which should be remembered while we are talking and relating them to the concept of physics. Now going through the definition of motion, as I have just explained that the motion says if the position of the object is changing with time. Now time here is an important parameter. Okay? So you should remember that with time the position should change. So it is said to be in motion. Now another concept which I had explained is of rest, which says if the position of the object does not changes with time, it is said to be in rest. Now again, the time here is an important parameter, which says that the time is changing while position of the object is not changing. Hence, it explains the concept of rest. So these were the concept of rest and motion. Now we will be going through another concept which is of a scalar quantity, scalars and vector quantities. Now, before going these two important terms, you should know or you should remember that in physics we will be going through multiple parameters and multiple quantities. You should be able to differentiate between a scalar quantity and a vector quantity because both these two represent different parameters. Now talking about the scalar quantities, generally scalar quantities are those physical quantities which contains only magnitude. That is, the quantities which possess only magnitude can be taken as a scalar quantity. For example, the weight of our body is a scalar quantity. The time is again a scalar quantity. Speed is also a scalar quantity. Other than that, also there are multiple parameters which are taken as scalar. The reason that they possess only a magnitude. Magnitude means a certain value. That is, if somebody asks you what is your weight, you will say that my weight is 10 kg, 15 kg, 25 kg, 50 kgs, which says that you are suggesting a certain magnitude, a certain value. Hence, it represents a scalar quantity. The another part of scalar quantity is vector, which implies that along with the magnitude, if you add a direction in the particular quantity, I am repeating this point, that along with the magnitude, if you are adding a direction into that particular quantity, that particular quantity becomes a vector. That is, vectors are those physical quantities that possess magnitude as well as direction. For example, velocity, force, etc., etc. There are multiple parameters and multiple physical quantities that possess magnitudes as well as direction. Now, how do we illustrate a vector quantity? Let us go through the definition first, then we will go through an illustration of a vector quantity. As you have just gone through the scalar quantity, that those physical quantities which possess only magnitude, the magnitude is an important parameter here, are called scalar quantities. Example, speed and mass. Similarly, those physical quantities which possess magnitude as well as direction are known as vector quantity. So here the important thing is magnitude plus direction, which constitute a vector quantity. Example, velocity and force. So this was a scalar and a vector quantity. Now I will illustrate the concept of how you take a quantity as a vector. Let us suppose this is a pen. I'll apply a certain amount of force onto it. Let the magnitude of the force be 5 Newton, 10 Newton, etc. If I apply a certain magnitude of force, it will move in a certain direction. So, on applying a force, the body is moving in a certain direction. So, you can say the magnitude with direction makes a quantity vector. So, this was all about the basic concepts of motion, in which you have gone through the concepts of motion, rest, a scalar quantity and a vector quantity. I hope you all have gone through this topic well. Thank you.